Unit 2, Lesson 8. Research and writing about a mythical character. Lesson question. How do you use research to write about the cultural significance of a mythical character? Lesson goals. Write an informative essay. Incorporate information and sources effectively. Develop a topic using evidence from research. Revise writing to include formal tone and style. Words to know. Style. Style. A particular way in which something is done, created, or performed. Paraphrasing. Paraphrasing. Restating something that was originally said or written by another person. Cite. Cite. To quote a passage, book, or any words originally stated by someone else as evidence. Credible. Credible. Believable or trustworthy as an authority on a subject. Greek mythological characters. Pandora was a mortal woman who received a box from the gods. When she opened it, she let all the evil out into the world. Perseus was a half-god and very brave. He killed Medusa and the Kraken. Prometheus means forethought. He was very influential. Because he brought fire to all of mankind. The writing process. Pre-writing, drafting, revising. Part of pre-writing is researching. Today's writing prompt. A writing prompt is a set of instructions about how to write your essay. It has all the information you need to be successful when writing your essay. The writing prompt addresses 4 key areas. Topic. What will you write about? A character from Greek mythology. Audience. Who will read your writing? Your peers and adults. Purpose. Why are you writing? To communicate information. Product. What will you write? An informative essay. Steps for researching an informative essay. Number 1. Coming up with a strong research question. Number 2. Gathering information from credible or reliable, believable sources. Number 3. Finding and including appropriate facts and details in the essay. A strong research question is linked to the topic of the writing prompt, must be answerable, so it's not a good question if you cannot answer it. Cannot be a simple fact, should be complex and compelling. You can also say it should be interesting to many people. Should be specific enough to fit the assigned length. The assigned length in this case is going to be 5 paragraphs. Effective and ineffective research questions. Effective research question. What myth does Prometheus appear in, and what is it about? Ineffective. Why is Greek mythology important? Okay, so this is too broad. This one is clear and complex enough to write an essay on. It can be answered through research, and it will help the writer respond to the writing prompt. Why is Greek mythology important is not specific enough to write a focused essay on. It is not linked to the topic, which asks about a specific myth, not mythology in general. In other words, when we go back to the prompt, the prompt is a character from Greek mythology, not why mythology is important. So you have to use the prompt. Evaluating sources, internet sources, credible internet sources. So one thing to look for is, how does the website end? If it's a government site and it ends in .gov, you can probably believe that there's some good research behind it. If it's an educational site, such as from a college or university, it will end with .edu, which gives you some suggestion that it could be a credible, reliable internet source. If it's an organization site, such as a museum, a library, or a nonprofit, .org, it could be, it depends, you'd have to do a little more thinking about it. And online newspaper, same thing. So these last two I'd say could be less credible, but these three are more credible. Non-credible internet sources. If the author is anonymous, there's usually a reason. If the author has no expertise on the topic, okay, they're not a subject matter expert. And if it's outdated information, or if it's a site that anyone can modify, it is not a credible internet source. So consider Wikipedia, for example. Anyone can modify that. So that is not considered a credible internet source. Choosing facts and details while researching. Quoting from sources. Quoting a source means taking language directly from it. Write down useful quotations that help answer the research question. Keep track of the author and page number. Paraphrasing from sources. Paraphrasing a text means restating it in your own words. When picking up big ideas from a source, put the language in your own words. Keep track of the author and the page number. Take paraphrased notes while researching. Okay, so that's a really good strategy to avoid plagiarism. Underline the pieces of information in this original text that explain why Greek mythical characters were important to ancient Greek culture. It was not long before men saw that strong men could not work for themselves without working for others. And there came in very early the idea of service as part of the idea of heroism. And the demigods, who were among the earliest heroes, were servants as well as masters. Hercules, the most powerful of the heroes to Greek and Roman boys, acts in a way that is helping other people rather than helping himself. Underline the text that paraphrases the idea that strong men could not work for themselves without working for others. You see it? So even while taking notes, we put it in our own words. Using a web to organize ideas. Use an idea web to outline your topic. Zeus. Zeus's story. Why is Zeus important? Use a web to organize ideas. He overthrew his father, Cronus, he beat his brothers in a competition decided by fate, and he became ruler of Mount Olympus. The writing process. So we have pre-writing, drafting, and revising. Pre-writing is research. Drafting, writing a thesis statement. Planning body paragraphs. Building an effective draft. Introduction. Thesis, which is your topic and your viewpoint. Body paragraph, body paragraph, body paragraph, conclusion. Writing an informative essay thesis statement. A thesis statement includes the topic of the essay and the essay's viewpoint. Topic: a mythical character and his or her story. Viewpoint: why this character is important to Greek culture. Building body paragraphs. Introduction, thesis. Summary of the plot, details about the character. Body paragraph. Cultural significance, details from myth and research. Body paragraph 3. Cultural significance, details from the myth and research. Conclusion, connect back to the thesis. Adding paraphrased or quoted information from research into body paragraphs. Follow these steps to use paraphrased or quoted information to develop your body paragraphs. Make a point about your topic. Introduce the paraphrased or quoted text to support your point. Write the quotation or paraphrased text. Use quotation marks around the text only if you are using the author's direct words. Cite the source after the quotation or paraphrase using MLA format. Explain how the paraphrased or quoted information supports your point. Underline the sentence that makes a point about the topic. 2 traits are his strength and the way he uses that strength. The importance of citations. Plagiarism is the illegal practice of taking someone else's work or ideas and passing them off as your own. It's a type of stealing someone's intellectual property. Avoid plagiarism by keeping track of quotations. So in your notes, put quotes around those things that you're copying directly from the text. Or, when you're taking your notes, paraphrase right away. Put it in your own words. Make sure you're using an MLA format so that you can cite your sources. Avoid copying and pasting information, especially from the internet. This is the place where students get into a lot of trouble with plagiarism. Drafting your information, your informative essay. Number 1, introduction. Introduce the points you will make in the body paragraphs. Include your thesis statement. Number 2, body paragraph 1. Summarize the myth's plot and describe the character. Body paragraph 2. Explain one reason why the Greek character is culturally significant. Body paragraph 3. Explain a second reason why the Greek character is culturally significant. Conclusion. Summarize and extend your main point. Connect back to the thesis. So again, the writing process: pre-writing, drafting, and revising. When you work on revising, make sure that your tone is formal, that it's academic writing, not the way you would speak to a friend. Formal versus informal tone. Formal style involves using proper language that presents ideas objectively. Use formal tone in essays, business letters, presentations, work-related documents. Use informal tone in friendly letters and emails, conversations with friends or peers outside of an academic setting, and conversations with relatives or friends. Identifying formal tone. Make sure your writing is formal by avoiding abbreviations and contractions. Like when you're texting, you might say BC for because, but you're certainly not going to do that in formal writing. And if you can avoid a contraction such as can't, don't, or won't, those are not used in formal writing. You would say cannot, would not, will not. Overuse of short and simple sentences. You want to have different sentence lengths. You want to vary them, to change them. A short one, a long one, a medium one. Avoid casual language, slang, or cliché expressions, like saying something a bunch. He did it a bunch, or that was cool, or it was so much fun. That does not sound academic. Addressing the reader or yourself. So in academic language, we do not say you and we do not say I. We write in the third person, he, she, they. And we avoid opinion statements such as I think. This is how we achieve a formal tone in our academic writing. Revising tone and style. Underline the words and phrases that show the author used informal language. Pandora should have never opened her box because it just put everybody else in a nasty situation. Okay, so this writer's using a contraction. This writer's using conversational language as opposed to formal language. And this writer gives an opinion. She should never have opened it. That's informal, and that's not what you do in academic writing. Okay. To revise it to be more formal, when Pandora opened her box, comma, it released evil and caused problems for everyone. So no contractions, formal language, and just facts, not opinion. So as you're working on your writing, here is a checklist for revising your essay. Check for your tone and your style. Did you write in a formal style and avoid opinions? Sticking to the facts. Details. Did you develop your thesis statement by supporting it with details from your research? Organization. Did you use transitions between paragraphs and sentences so that the essay flows? Mechanics. Did you use correct grammar, spelling, capitalization, and punctuation, including when citing your sources? Remember your MLA citations. And word choice. Did you vary or change the length of your sentences to engage your reader? Lesson question. How do you use research to write about the cultural significance of a mythical character? By putting together research about the mythical character's story and the culture the myth comes from, you can write about why the mythical character is important. All right, so here is an outline that's also copied in Google Classroom for you about research and writing about a mythical character. So your introduction should have the introduction to what Greek mythology is, or Greek society, or Greek gods, depending on what you chose to write about or choose to write about. And then it should have a thesis statement. In a sentence, state the title of the myth you'll be discussing and its impact on society today. The second paragraph should have a summary of the myth. Summarize the myth that you chose. Tell the story from beginning to end in your own words. Imagine you're telling it to someone who has never heard it before. And then finally, actually that might be more than two. It might be 2 or 3 paragraphs because this is the body. Okay. So first paragraph, second, third, fourth paragraphs, and in conclusion. What do we see happening today in society that happened in the myth? What is important or significant about the myth today? And for example, if you're writing about Perseus, okay, you'll see in the copy of this in Google Classroom some different places you might get started.